Hi guys, it's Giselle. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. In today's video, we are doing something a little different, something that I haven't really spoken about on my channel before, but I did want to do a video on this topic because I feel like there might be other people out there that are going through the same type of thing. The topic really is about going gray and also hair dye allergies. If you are a hair dye allergy sufferer and you're going gray, lots of different factors into why I wanted to do this video. So if that sounds like something you're struggling with or that you'd like a little bit more information on in terms of how others might be going through the same thing, please continue watching. Let's start off with graying. I am in my late 30s and I started graying at the very early age of 22. And it just happens. It happens to a lot of people if you're one of the lucky few who don't gray until much later in life. It's a very weird thing to happen at such a young age because you think of, going gray at a much later stage in life. It's just been something that is normal for me because I've been living with it for so long, and I dye my hair. That's how I combat the grays. I dye them. I used to pluck them out when I was in my 20s because I thought that that was the thing to do. It's not. They grow back. They grow back. They're just gonna grow. Like if you're destined to have gray hair in your 20s, the gray hairs are gonna come. Whether or not you pluck them, they're still coming. So the way that I used to combat my grays, since the early 20s was dyeing my hair. I dyed my hair a lot. Like I've been every color under the sun that you can think of. I've been that color. In my 30s, I really just well, I shouldn't say in my 30s. I would say probably the last 5 to 6 years, I've really toned down how I color my hair, and I don't try all these different colors anymore. I just kind of stick to my natural hair color, my black hair color. More time that goes by, I have to dye my hair quite frequently. 3 to 4 weeks, they're sprouting in again. They're coming in again. So dye my hair quite frequently. I'm one of those people. I go to my hairdresser, she does my hairstylist, and then because it's such a frequent thing, I would maintain my roots at home in between those salon visits. I started noticing about, I would say, a good 2.5 years ago, I started noticing that on the days that I would go see my hairstylist, I get my hair dyed, do my roots or whatever, and, with hair color, it would be so itchy. But that's really all that it ever did, was it just itched. And I would talk about it to some of my friends who also dye their hair a darker color, like, oh, it gets so itchy, but it is what it is. In a couple of days, it goes away. Last year, once we got into the end of summer months and things started opening up again, I went to go get my hair dyed like I normally do. And later that night, again, very itchy like it normally happens. And then I woke up the next morning and I was like, holy crap, what just happened? That next morning, I was a horrible mess. I looked like I had been in a boxing fight. I couldn't open my eyes. My eyes were swollen, pretty much swollen shut. When I finally could get them open, they were just very, raw and veiny, like I had gotten punched in the face. My face, the crown area of my face was very swollen and misshapen, like I looked like an alien, quite honestly. And my scalp was just so raw and red. And not to be gross, but they had actually broken out in like these little blisters, like all over my scalp. I was in really, really, really bad shape. And to boot, I couldn't wear contacts because my eyes were just watering so badly. I couldn't keep them in. I had to wear glasses. I was not in good shape. I kind of felt like I knew that it was the hair dye, obviously, because it was, you know, it had to do with my scalp. So I Googled hair dye allergy, like what to do, and all these photos came up of people that had these horrible hair dye reactions, you know, to the point of near death. Like they literally were just so misshapen. I luckily wasn't as misshapen as some of these photos that I saw online, but if you Google hair dye allergy, you'll see what I'm talking about. Went to the doctor, got put on prednisone, which is a steroid, for multiple weeks in order for the symptoms to die down. And it was just a very horrible experience. I did some research and it was like, okay, the hair dye allergy, and you know, I think it has to do with PPD. Months went by, it was time to dye my hair again, and I got my hair dyed with this vegan product. The name escapes me. Did the vegan product and the same thing happened. I literally had a reaction. Stupid me for not doing the patch test, which we'll get into that a little bit later. I thought because it was a vegan product, it would be safe to use. Nope, it wasn't safe to use. Same reaction, same thing. I actually think the reaction was worse this time because the previous time the first time it happened to me, I felt that maybe I had caused a lot of the blistering on the scalp because I was itching so badly throughout the night. But what happened was when I did my hair this second time, I was like, I'm not going to scratch it because maybe that's what caused a lot of the swelling and blistering. So I didn't touch my scalp. Just let the itch it was very bad. Not to be gross, but this is literally what happened to me. I was sitting down, not feeling well, you know, because obviously that takes a toll on you if you're having some kind of allergic reaction to something. And I just remember sitting on the couch like this, just like so bummed out that here it is again. I did this to myself. Why did this happen? Why did you do this? And I remember taking my hand away from my scalp. What is on my hand? Like, my hand was all like wet and like glistening. My hands weren't wet. My hair wasn't wet. And literally what had happened, and this is so gross, I went and I looked in the mirror, pulled my hair back and was looking at my scalp. My scalp had, you know, tons of tiny little pussy blisters that had just like broken out. It didn't take me scratching it. It just did it on its own. And it was trying to fight this, you know, chemical reaction that I was having. I had to go to the urgent care because it was on a weekend. Got another batch of the prednisone steroid, another like 3 to 4 weeks with this thing. At that point, I was so bummed out. What am I gonna do? I have to find a hair dye that I can use that's not gonna cause an allergic reaction. And I know that you're probably thinking, well, you know, why don't you just let your hair grow out, right? Just go gray, just go gray. It's not worth it, right? That's what some people told me. Other people were like, no, keep trying to find your hair dye. And I think it's like going gray is a very personal thing. I feel like you have to be ready in life to really accept that you're going gray. Or I feel like that's how it was for me. Like I was not at a place in my life where I was accepting the fact that I was going to be completely gray. I think that I could have learned to be gray. Like, I think I can learn to be gray, and it will take a lot of time and effort for me to accept it. But at that time, I just was not ready to be gray. I couldn't accept it. I'm like, you know, I'm not in my 40s yet. I feel like for me, especially, and I know that hair is just hair, right? Like hair is just hair. You cut it, it grows back. You dye it another color. There are people out there that have illnesses that unfortunately, they lose their hair, and that's a very unfortunate thing. For me, I feel like my hair is very much a part of my identity. I feel like it's a huge part of my identity. I feel like when people, like my friends and my family, when they think of me, curly black haired girl, right? The first thing that people notice is the curly hair. I think that's why it's so difficult for me to be like, I'm not gonna be able to have black hair anymore. I'm gonna have to have gray curly hair. I just didn't know how to accept that. I decided to go on this like hair dye journey. And what I did was I took some time away from going to my hairstylist, who is a friend of mine. And the reason why I did that is because I didn't want to put the burden on her of having to find something that worked for me. Having to go to the store and finding different things. So for the next year, I didn't go to the hairstylist. What I did was I purchased products on my own, and I did patch testing on myself. So I would go behind my ear and I would do a patch test of the hair dye, and I would wait 48 hours to see what would happen. And let me tell you, it wasn't good. I felt like every time I thought I found something I could use, I couldn't use it. So I do want to share that journey with you, because as of 2 weeks ago, well, actually now we're going on 3 weeks, I have finally, after a year of searching, found a product that didn't cause an allergic reaction. And I was so happy and excited that I was able to find that product. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't accept that you have gray hair, or that you should continue to try different hair dyes. I'm not saying that about you. All I'm saying is I wanted to share with you guys, if you are struggling with finding a hair dye that works for you, that it wouldn't hurt if I told you what worked for me and what didn't work for me. Maybe what works for me might work for you. I don't know. I wanted to share this information with you guys in case this might help someone that is not ready to accept that they are going gray. I mean, I know it seems like a trivial thing in today's world with everything that's going on, but it's the little things sometimes, and the little things sometimes are the big things. And for me, over the last year and a half, 2 years, it was the hair dye thing. I was really struggling with it.